Hey friends, today I want to do a mindful movement practice so we really get into the muscles we're supposed to be feeling, and it's going to be minimal movement, so we're not going to hop around or anything like that. And then I want to follow it with the meditation at the end, so if you feel like it is necessary for you to shut the video off before the meditation, that is okay, but I really hope that you can stay with it and also find the importance of stillness and, working inward as well as we work outward. So today we're going to get started laying on our backs. I just feel like it's fitting if we're doing a slower paced mindful movement. Excuse me, picking lint off my mat here. And then lay it all the way on down. Let's start with palms up towards the ceiling. Give the shoulders a moment to open up. And then see if you can feel your thigh bones sink heavy into the hip sockets. Try to see if you can let your ribs soften down towards the floor. Can you let your skull get a little bit heavier? And just being aware of your feet touching the mat. Maybe notice the weight that they carry. Give yourself a nice big inhale here. And then a deep exhale. We're going to inhale, think about expanding the ribs, so a nice three-dimensional breath. And then an exhale to pull the belly button down to the spine, wrap the waistline in. Again, like this, big expansive inhale, filling the ribs front, back, sides. And then an exhale to deflate. Feeling the slight engagement through the low belly. Give me two more like that. See if you can make your inhales a little bit longer, a little bit bigger. So we can make our exhales a little bit bigger, feeling more of a pull of the belly button to the spine, more of a wrapping of the waistline. Using our next exhale, gently tuck the tailbone. The low back is going to press down into the floor. And then it's an inhale to lengthen back into your neutral spine. And exhale to tuck, and inhale to release. See if you can soften, once again, your hip flexors here. Try not to engage the glutes and really make this about the low abs, that lift of the pelvic floor. And then on your next one, tuck your tailbone and then pause here. Press down through the feet so much that you start to lift your hips, and then we're going to roll ourselves up into a bridge. Knees reach over the toes, heels pull back towards the shoulders. And then nice and slowly, try to melt it down just one vertebra at a time. How slow can you go? Go even slower than you are now. Even slower. And then when you find yourself finally at the bottom, make sure you find that neutral spine to start at. It's an exhale to tuck, press down through the feet, and once again start to roll yourself up into your bridge. Really keep the ribs pressing against the mat as much as you can here. And then we melt it down one bone at a time, moving super slow, feeling for any sticky spots. And if just anything at all, finding this awareness of each individual vertebrae. Give me two more like that, really moving at your own pace here. And then the next time you lift, we're going to hold it up at the top. See if you can soften your ribs, even if that means you lower your bridge slightly here. And then I want you to tap your low glute. So we're going to touch ourselves, that little part where your upper thigh meets your butt. And then I want you to try to squeeze your fingers with that part of your booty, so that little smile line. Hands can come wherever you find comfortable. We're going to tuck the tailbone a little deeper from here, so really lengthen through the low back. And then see if you can pull the heels towards the shoulders and reach the knees slightly forward. Now imagine your inner thighs are just wrapping away from one another, so you feel a little bit more opening through the hips here. And then can you use that and press down through the feet just a little bit more, creating a stronger base. From here, we're going to take little pulses of the hips up and up. Remember, shoulders are calm. And we're breathing. You're here for another 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold and then melt it down, just one bone at a time. All right, feet are going to crawl wide on the mat. So toes can spill off of the sides, heels towards one another. Arms can stay once again wherever it's comfortable. We press down through the feet just like we did before, and we're going to roll it up into our bridge once again. When you get to the top, you're going to melt it down one bone at a time. We're not going to take as many here, so really enjoy this articulation while you've got it. Maybe you feel a difference from when we were working parallel to now when we work in external rotation. Hold it up next time you are up there. And then once again, take little pulses of the hips up and up. Think about gluing the pinky toe side of your foot down, pressing through the heels. Still finding that spiral of the inner thighs away from one another. Pause at the top. Just take a second to think about your feet. I know it sounds weird, but can you feel if you're weighting more weight, that's a sentence, right, in one foot than the other? And then try to even it out. And then from here, last little set of pulses up and up. We're going to go for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold, and then melt it down just one bone at a time. Wiggle the feet back to parallel. And then take the hands and place them back behind the head, interlacing the fingertips. We're going to once again let the ribs fall nice and heavy. And then bring the elbows slightly up. So they're not covering your face. They're not super wide. They're in a comfy in-between. Let the head get even heavier. And then give yourself an inhale. And it's an exhale to curl to the tips of the shoulder blades. And then an inhale to lower back down. And exhale to curl. And inhale to lower. Getting very nice pets from my plant friend here. Maybe you have an animal. I don't. I just have plants, which is maybe why I stay so close to them. One day though, one day I'll have a puppo of my own. We curl up and down. Keeping them small, paying attention to that neutral spine like we found in the beginning of class. So you have space between your low back and the mat. You can always use your hands to check in. We curl up and hold it up there. Maybe widen the elbows out a little if you feel like your shoulders have gotten rather crunchy. And then take little pulses up and up. Strong through the arms. They're supporting your head. It's like your head is in a canopy. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower it all the way on down. Breathe for a moment here. We're going to slide the left leg out long, and then the right leg will lift up into tabletop. You're going to exhale to curl it back on up and then pause. Keep your head heavy in that left hand. Take your right thumb and bring it into that right hip crease, and then try to lengthen your waistline out slightly here. Bring that hand back behind the head. It's an exhale to rotate over to the right, and then back through center. And we rotate over and back. Keep the left hip heavy. Right knee over the right hip. For 3, for 2, last one, and bring it all the way down, lower the right leg all the way on down.
We'll switch it right over to the other side. So left leg into tabletop. Exhale, curl it on up. Head heavy in that right hand. Bring your left thumb to your left hip crease and try to lengthen it out. Hand comes back behind the head. We rotate over and back. Try not to grip in that right hip. Let it be heavy. Leading the way by peeling that right shoulder blade off, reaching armpit towards knee here. For 4, 3, you've got it. 2, and 1. Lower it all the way on down, legs out nice and long. All right, from here, arms come up towards the ceiling. It's a nice big inhale and exhale to try to curl all the way on up. You can't roll all the way on up. That is a-okay. We're gonna have our legs nice and bent. Just don't stay down there. Find your way up, you know? We're gonna bring our hands back behind our legs. Legs are bent. If you want a little bit more space, you can lengthen the legs out slightly here. Stack the spine nice and tall. And then we're gonna dissect our roll back. So you're gonna tuck the tailbone, and then I want you to think about creating a really deep C curve through your low back. Crown of the head is still trying to lengthen up towards the ceiling, right? So we haven't rolled back yet. We're just tucking the tailbone and then releasing. Now, if you find this almost impossible, lean up against a wall and then try to get your low back to tap the wall and then release it. Because if you're leaning against a wall, you definitely can't go through it with your upper body unless you are a ghost, and that's just a whole nother thing, right? All right. Next time you tuck and roll back, pause. Can you pull your belly button back to your spine a little bit more? We're going to roll back until we straighten the arms. And then we're going to roll ourselves back on up, restack the spine. It's an exhale. Start with the low back. Try to keep that height through the crown of the head. Keep trying to grow longer as you roll back, just until the arms straighten. And then we roll back over ourselves and up. Keep moving with this. See how much you can feel in your body, in your abs, what's happening with your spine. Where do you feel movement? Where do you feel stability? All right, 2 more. Last one. Exhale, roll it on back. And roll it all the way on up. Extend the arms forward for me. Nice big inhale, exhale, roll it back, and then pause. Drop the shoulder blades down the back. Press into that left heel and then pull the right leg up into tabletop. Take a second. How's the weight of your pelvis? Are you leaning to one side? Can you find that length through the right waistline again? And then tap it down. And we lift up and lower. We're not here for long. See if you can really pull the belly button back and tuck the tailbone. Imagine you're balancing yourself on a tightrope. You don't want to wiggle to one side. All right, one more each side. Plant both feet down, roll all the way on up. All right, we're gonna come onto our right side body here. And for today, we're gonna lay all the way on down. So if you have a yoga block that you wanna use underneath your head, more than welcome. If not, you can rest the head down or in your hand. And then checking in on alignment here. We have our hips stacked, shoulders stacked, a lift through our bottom waistline, and then from here we'll lift the top leg up and lower it on down. And it's a lift up and lower. So when you lower the leg down, your knees should fall in alignment with one another. You can see you're rolling your hip forward if it comes too forward, and you're rolling your hip back if your knee is a little bit back. So it's just a way to check in that your hips are staying steady. Ooh, maybe you get some pops through your hips like I just did. So satisfying. Top hand can do whatever you would prefer. All right. Lift it up and then hold it lifted. Just hold. Really try to pull that left thigh bone back into the hip socket. Take your hand to your low back now and make sure that you're not tucking your tailbone. So you have a curve in your low back and then you can feel your booty sticking out slightly. And then hands can come back to resting. We're going to take little pulses up from here. Try to move slow and feel your left butt cheek helping to lift your left knee up and up. Still breathing. Abs are engaged. All right, you're going to hold it with that slight lift here. Flex the foot, extend the leg out long, and then bend the leg in. Can you feel that same pull back of the thigh bone? And then we extend it out and in. When you extend out, can you lengthen your waistline a little bit more? Finding length through the whole body. Moving even slower. Extend out for a hold, and then little lift up and up. Still try to flex through the foot, reaching through the heel. We're here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bend it all the way on in. Come through to an all fours position, so you can use your left hand to help lift you on up. We're coming through to our all fours position here. And then we're going to bring it down onto our elbows. Elbows underneath the shoulders. Give me a few scapular push-ups. So dropping the shoulder blades together, letting them pinch, and then widening the shoulder blades out. And we widen. Back of the throat stays long. Low belly pulls to the spine. Hold the shoulder blades wide. See if you can pull your breastbone a little bit more forward, and then try to pull the mat in half using your elbows. From here, that same leg we were just working, that left leg, is going to tap up towards the ceiling. So flex the foot, knee is nice and bent. We're going to just take little pitter-patters up and up. Again, not here for too long. Not much movement, but can you feel where you're moving from? And then can you feel where you're stabilizing? And know that stabilizing is not the same as holding tension. So if you're holding tension in your neck, jaw, shoulders, see if you can let it go, but still feel the strength there. We're just here for 4, 3, 2, 1. Tap it all the way on down. Sit it back into a child's pose. Tent up the fingertips if you can, and just let your belly rest heavy, with the forehead rest heavy. Take a nice big inhale, a deep exhale. One more like that. Nice big inhale. And exhale. And then we're going to sit it back onto our heels here. So have the toes tucked, maybe get the pinky toe involved. Don't want them to miss out. And then we're stacking again our ribs over our hips. We're nice and tall here. Arms are going to just reach forward. We're going to press the palms back past our hips, open up our chest, and then reach the arms back forward. So it might not feel like much, but can you find resistance? And can you feel an opening through your shoulders? We have 3. 2. Hold the arms out. I'm going to pivot just so I have space and you can see. We're going to bring the arms into circles. So they'll come down, out wide. Are you serious? And then back down. Oh, I'm so sorry. I can't help but hit my plants. Okay. Nice big circles. And then we'll reverse the direction of the circles. If you're hypermobile, try not to lock through your elbows. Just feeling movement through our shoulders here. 3 more. 2. All right, next time the arms are in line with the shoulders, hold. Palms up towards the ceiling. Give me little circles now. Little circles. Frontal ribs are pulling slightly down towards those hip bones. Reverse the circles. Maybe rock the head side to side here. Just make sure you're not gripping in the neck. For another 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then bring it back to your all fours position for me. Take some cat-cows here. Just shake that off with the shoulders. And then you're going to press down through the hands. Walk the feet back, coming through into a plank, and then send it back up into your downward dog. We'll take a second, pedal through the legs here. And then nice and slowly start to walk your feet towards your hands, sending your butt all the way down towards the floor. We'll lower it all the way on down and come onto our left side. Coming back to our glutes. Legs are nice and bent, hips are stacked. Start by lifting the top leg up and down. Using your hand to check in on your form. Using your knees to help you see if you're in alignment. And then seeing if you can move nice and slow. So feeling resistance on the way up, and then resistance on the way down. Belly button is pulled back towards the spine. And we're flaring our sits bones. So you have that natural curve to your low back. All right, we're going to hold that lift on the next one. Don't let it go anywhere. Really try to flare the sits bones back. Pull the right thigh bone back into the hip socket. And then take little pulses up from here. And can you use your right glute to lift the right knee up? Breathing here for 4, 3, 2, hold a slight lift, extend that leg out long, flex the foot, and then bend it back on in. Extends out, And then slowly bend it in. Feel the right thigh bone pull back. Noticing the parts where you want to speed up. And see if you can challenge yourself to slow down. We tend to fall into habitual movements here, so see if you can shake it up a little bit. Two more. Make sure your leg hasn't started to fall towards the floor. You're keeping that lift. Last one to extend out and then pulse it up and up, reaching the heel, pulling the toes back. And you find some extra length between your ribs and your hip bone. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rest it all the way on down. Plant the right hand down to help you prop yourself on up. We'll come back through into an all fours position and then back onto our elbows. You're still splitting that mat in half. Bring the right heel up towards the ceiling, squaring off the hips, and then little pitter-patters up. You have a little bit more weight in the right forearm. Breastbone pulls forward. Low belly pull to the spine. So we're definitely not moving from our low back, right? We're moving from that low glute, the one that we found when we were in our bridges. It's for 4, 3, 2, 1. Tap it all the way on down. We're going to stay onto our forearms here. And then we'll step the right foot back and the left foot will come back. You're in your plank, belly button pulls to the spine. Press the floor away. Breathe for 5, 4, 3, 2, lower all the way to the belly. All right, once we're there, keep the elbows where they're at. Press the tops of the feet down and just pull your breastbone forward. Think about dragging the elbows back. Take a nice big inhale and a deep exhale. All right, you can lay it down just to adjust the hands, bringing the hands underneath the shoulders, tucking the toes. Press yourself back up through to your plank, back into a downward dog, and then just walk the feet forward towards the center of the mat is perfect. We're going to hang out a little forward fold, letting the head drop down. You can grab for opposite elbows if you would like. You can let the arms dangle long. See if you can let the crown of the head sink a little bit heavier towards the floor. And then just slowly shift your weight forward and back, side to side. Not dramatically, I don't want you to fall over here, but just gently so you can feel what it's like to have weight on one side, the other side. And the heels hang heavy in this forward fold. Shaking the head yes. Shaking the head no. And then press down through the feet and slowly start to roll yourself up just one bone at a time. Rolling the shoulders up and back. And then nice and slowly, once again, we'll melt down one bone at a time. Letting the arms be heavy here. This time, plant the hands down if you can, bend the knees, and sit the booty all the way back down to the floor. Feel free to sit for the meditation part of this workout. You can also lay all the way down, which is the option I'm going to take, because when you have the option between laying down and not laying down, you're a special creature to take the not laying down. So make your way all the way down onto the mat here, or stay seated upright. If you're seated upright, I do recommend a pillow or some yoga blocks underneath the hips. And then I'm going to have my feet nice and wide, my knees knocked in. But you can have the legs extended out. You can have feet together, knees wide. I recommend yoga blocks or pillows for that as well. And then no matter where you're at, our hands are going to come onto our bellies. And our eyes will start to soften or shut if that feels okay with you. Take a nice big inhale, fill the entire body up with air. And then an exhale to let it all go. And then an inhale to fill up. And an exhale to let it go. And then just start to breathe naturally. Noticing the rise and fall of your belly in your hands. Noticing the expansion of the ribs, the lungs, and then the shrinking of the ribs, the falling of the lungs. Hands can stay on the belly or come to the sides. If you're seated, they can rest on your legs. And just continue to breathe. Notice the breath coming in through the nose or the mouth and leaving. Letting the shoulders relax. Think about softening through the biceps, the elbows, the forearms, and making your way to your hands. Notice if you feel any tingling in your hands, any sensations, the temperature, the weight of the hands. And as if you could breathe in through your fingertips, take a nice big inhale, traveling all the way up the arm, through the crown of the head, and then an exhale to let that all go. Coming to our hips, seeing if you can let your hips relax. Turning the butt cheeks off. Softening through the quads, the kneecaps, the shins and the calves. Even taking a second to notice the ankles. And then coming to our feet. Maybe you notice some sensations happening in the feet. The temperature, the weight of the feet. And then breathing through the toes all the way on up through the crown of the head, we take an inhale. And then an exhale to let all of that go. Coming back to noticing your inhales and your exhales. Not controlling it, but just letting it happen. And then coming to the mind. Noticing any thoughts that might pop up. Letting them arise and then just letting them go. Seeing if we become an observer of our thoughts instead of letting ourselves become our thoughts. Maybe something comes to mind and you think, that's interesting. And then just seeing if you can let it go. Knowing nothing is good or bad, it just simply is. Nice big inhales and exhales. And then just take a second to start to wiggle the fingers and the toes. Maybe a gentle rock of the head side to side. And if you're laying down, we're going to roll onto our right side nice and slowly. Resting our head on our right forearm. Holding fetal position for a moment. And then you can use that left hand to help press yourself up, keeping the eyes shut if you can. Finding a comfortable seat. And then taking a second to notice what you feel. Is there a certain lightness to the body? A certain quietness to the mind? And then I just want to leave you with a thought here. I know the world can feel very overwhelming, especially with social media and the internet. We have access to so much information at our fingertips, and it seems like a lot of things are boiling up. And at times like that, we can often feel like we're searching for control in our lives just anywhere. But oftentimes that ends up building a lot of fear and stagnation and resentment towards what is. So when you start to feel like you are needing to gain control, see if you can instead just take some simple inhales and exhales. Come back to your breath. And try to respond instead of react. And with that, you can start to open your eyes. And thank you so much, guys. I hope to do some more meditation. I really find it such a useful tool, and it can shift so much in our lives. So look out for those. If you have any other recommendations, of course, comment below, DM me on Instagram, however you want to contact me. Call me, beat me if you want to reach me, if you know what I'm talking about. And until then, until next Tuesday, guys, have a good one.